that's a good idea because there are some students that are from the same country, and you can interview them and ask them if whenever they prefer to make friends from their own country or other countries. Yeah. What do you think?
Yeah, I think maybe we can ask some international students about what's the most difficult for them to adapt in terms of maybe study, food, or entertainment.
We can also ask them where exactly the difficulties come from. Perhaps they come from other sources.
So I think finally we can ask them to describe their campus life in one word or a short sentence in her or his mother tongue. So as a short ending. Where are you from?
Where I'm from, Kenya.
Originally from Hong Kong, but my parents and I immigrated here a few years ago.
I came from Philippines.
England.
I'm from India.
I'm from China.
Germany.
I'm from Japan.
I'm from China.
Is English your first language?
I grew up speaking both English and Swahili, so
So are you international student here?
yeah.
You as a international student? Okay.
I am.
So
No, I'm not international student. I'm a UK citizen.
oh, okay. So English is your first language?
No, English is not my first language.
So English is your first language?
Yeah.
International student?
Yeah, international.
Not your first language, right? And you are international students?
Yes, we're exchange students.
And
For
so
semester 2.
first language, right?
Oh, yes, it is.
那我们可以用中文问几个
Oh,
问题
yeah. Okay.
The most difficult to adapt in terms of maybe study, food, transport, or entertainment.
Yeah, of course. I think for me personally, because my first year, I'm a law student, my first year everything was online. And that was kind of unexpected because I thought everything would be in person, I'd have more of a uni life, more social. Instead, I was just stuck in my room, just like looking at the screen. And that was kind of hard to accept because I really thought that I'd be on campus a bit more like I am now. So I think after the first year and everything was back in person, it was much better. But at first, that was a bit hard to accept and adapt to.
It was my first year, so I mean I need to come here, get like my visas and everything, like all the things that I needed to make sure I could come back into the country. So from there, I just started to kind of like stay around a bit. So I will say, trying to like navigate the city and trying to see what how to get well in that year was probably the most difficult part of it.
It's like trying to blend in with the culture around it. So most of the time, they don't know how like in the UK how everything works. So I feel like just adapting to like the culture of the environment is like the most difficult thing they encounter most of the time, according to some few of my international student friends.
The language barrier and like making friends, because I know I went to Paris for a bit over summer and I've got like intermediate French level, but it was like a bit frustrating to not be able to communicate fully what I thought. So I don't know, I know lots of my friends have mentioned they've got international students in their flat, and the ones with good English find it easy to make friends, but then there's people who aren't very confident when speaking English and they tend to be a bit quieter because I guess it's just harder for them. But I don't know, maybe just homesickness as well.
The thing which was difficult was the weather. First, it was difficult for me to even get out of my room, and then I was able to manage it. So the weather condition here and mingling with others.
I think to find people you want to hang out with, but also how uni works, because no one really tells you when you have exams and stuff like that, and it's all really different.
And also, maybe do you think the food, the transportation, or study is also difficult for you?
It's quite similar to home,
Okay.
so that was really easy, actually.
That's a great question. Yeah, in my case, the cost of living is the most difficult, I think.
Yeah.
Food prices here are generally high, and even though I have a lunch at the refectory, so which is the 3.5 or 5 pounds in average is still high for me.
Yeah.
I am always, the worry.
Yeah.
Then about
Because I have many subjects to study and many assessments to do, and language is also a problem, so I think it's more stressful for me.
Yeah. 认识男生比较困难，交友比较困难，这边男生太少了，认识男生很困难。
Do you prefer to talk about your classmates, maybe who comes from your same country, or you prefer to make friends with other country students?
I would say because I have been in the UK for a bit of time before I started uni, so I think it's I think I find solace with like fellow Hong Kongers or people who look like me, because in Leeds it's really diverse, but at the same time I think because I grew up in a city where it's very like Asian dominated, it's comforting to see people who look like me and who have a similar upbringing, because we have more topics to talk about. But at the same time, my best friend now is from France, and we get along quite well, and it's always interesting to hear about their stories, their background, how they grew up, their culture. And so I think I don't really have a preference. I think anyone who I find, has a good personality and is, we have similar interests. I think it doesn't really matter that, in terms of the background, but more as to like what they like or how they are in terms of personality.
People, who have the same upbringing as you can, I guess in some respect, they have that level of understanding. I just want to come here, see, good people, regardless of where they're from, and then from there, that's essentially how I make friends, honestly.
Oh, I much preferred like from other countries because getting new experience, what's their perspective, what's their initial view of UK first of all. But yeah, I prefer much international student to counteract more, because at least I have more different perspective. It's like because like for me, I don't go out much of the country, so and as for them, they're bringing their country. So
To me, I want to be your friend, but I think, I don't want to sound mean, but I think if I can't communicate with you, then it will be hard to like have a deeper friendship, as opposed to just saying like, hello, how are you? So I think it's more like your level of ability to communicate with me, but as for where you're from, I don't really care.
I wanted to make friends from other countries. I wanted to mingle. I wanted to have international connections. But my cohort class consists mostly of people from my country, India, and some mostly Asians and Indians, that too, majority Indians and other Asians. So I try to mingle with them. Not that much, but even some people from my country are so hesitant to even talk. I don't know, the interaction was difficult. Even though I start the conversations, they sometimes don't. People from my own country. So then I don't know if people from other countries would even talk. So I was like, okay, fine, let's just stick.
I wanted to make friends with international students, and that also kind of worked out because I actually haven't met anyone from my home country, so that was quite easy to find internationals.
Yeah, to be honest, I prefer to get to know the students from other countries, not from my country, because I have the many Japanese friends in my country, and there's and I'm coming here to get to the exchange opinions and the differences with the people who have a different background and cultures. So given that the motivation, I think my preference is having the international students other than Japanese.
Choose my same country at first because we have the same culture, more comfortable to make friends. So that's why I choose the same country.
Yeah.
我想跟外国人交朋友，但是我的外语不太好，所以我都跟中国人交朋友。
所以你觉得在跟外国人交朋友当中最难的是因为
语言呀，语言障碍。
I see. So the last question is: there's a paper and here is the pen. Can you please use a single word or a single sentence to describe your campus life?
English or
in your own language, Chinese. You can write in Chinese. Oh, what's that mean?
Interesting.
My handwriting isn't good.
So what's the meaning of it?
Usually I have a slow day because I don't really do much. I don't have that because I do law, so I can have like 3 lectures a week. So it's not that much of a fast-paced lifestyle. I kind of like come here, stay like for an hour, do whatever it is that I do after, and then go. I didn't have a word for slow, so I guess this makes sense too because I guess it's not really stressful either in terms of coming. I guess I kind of like come on my own terms, I guess.
Okay, so mother language is Tagalog. And what's the next one? Should I write? Adventurous. So this, yeah.
Okay, so what meaning about this?
So basically, my first language is Tagalog. It is my mother tongue, because I came from the Philippines. And the meaning of adventure is because like I'm a second-year student, and since I came here last year, everything has been like a looping adventure for me. Everything, new day, I discover everything. I met new people, experience new things. So that's basically how I summarize my uni life. And
Don't be stressful.
Yeah. got some new experiences.
So could you interact about this?
Yeah, so it was a bit difficult to interact and mingle with others at the start of the time, but I was able to manage because I got few friends and we were talking on a regular basis. We were there for each other. So that part I was able to manage because of people here.
It means completely new because you basically start from zero and have to build your own life game.
Can you explain the meaning?
It's really tiring, but more enjoyable.
一句话也可以是一个词语。
这在中文里就是蛮屌的，就是我觉得我的大学生活还蛮好的，蛮好玩的。
蛮好玩的。
对对对。
During the interviews, we found that we interviewed with a certain stereotype. It is difficult to determine a person's nationality by their physical appearance. During the interviews, one of the students who looked like coming from Africa, but after the interview, we know that he is French. And another student, they all think maybe he is Southeast Asia student, but he said that he is a UK student.
Yeah, I agree with her that the stereotype problem is an issue between the cross-cultural communication, and we stereotypically think the difficulty about the international students is about living food or study. But I remember the Japanese students we interviewed, they think the price maybe is an issue for him, so we still overlooking some areas.
I don't to lie with you. I think price is a sensitive topic, and such like food, entertainment, study, I think they all belong to the small culture, which is suitable for communicating.
Yeah, I think so. But I think language is the most important part of the communication because in order to get some differences, I interviewed a Chinese student in Chinese, and he answered me very fluently. And what's more, when I asked him to describe his campus life in Chinese words, he used a word which can only understand by Chinese people. And this word is also very difficult for me to translate in English.
I think there are many interesting words in English, such as crush. It means I want to borrow something from you, but I won't give it back to you. I think there are some similarities.
Yeah, I see. That is a good comparison. And maybe the language is a barrier in crossing cultural communication, and it is better expressed in one's mind in the native language.
Yeah, I see your point. However, apart from the language barrier, I also think that the amount of time that they spend in the UK that affect their personality can be another barrier for intercultural communication. As we have interviewed two girls that have totally different backgrounds, we can observe that even English is not their native language. Their language skills and fluency is not the same. For the first year, who is from Congo, and she has immigrated to the UK for 3 years, and we can see that she is more confident in using English, and she can express her own opinion about UK based on her experience in the UK, and she is more fluent. However, for the girls who came from China, and since this is her first year in East, and she may not have more experience in East, and she may not have any too many people